Welcome to video 8 of Maths on Fractions Calculations. Let's have a look at pizza. Here I have a pizza cut into 8 slices and there's 2 pieces shaded. So somebody has eaten 2 pieces of pizza. If somebody else comes along and eats another 3 pieces of pizza, altogether how many pieces of pizza have been eaten? Well, that's simple enough, I add them together. Let's count how many pieces are now shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My total number of pieces in a pizza is still 8, so the bottom number has not changed. By adding more pieces of pizza, I'm not changing how many pieces there are in each pizza. Therefore, when we add or subtract fractions, the bottom number, the denominator, does not change. Let's have a look. To add fractions, I simply add the top numbers, and the bottom number or denominator stays the same. That means that to add or subtract fractions, the fractions must have the same denominator. So if I've got a question like this, 1/2 plus 1/3, I need to work out what the lowest common denominator is first. And for 2 and 3, my lowest common denominator is 6. I can then work it out. So to go to 6, 2 times 3 is 6. Whatever I do to the bottom, to the top I do exactly the same. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 to 6 I times by 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, to the top I do exactly the same. 1 times 2 is 2. I can now add across. 3 plus 2 equals 5, and my denominator stays the same. So my answer to 1/2 plus 1/3 is 5/6. Let's look at subtraction. If I have 7 pieces of pizza remaining, that is, I've got 7 pieces shaded out of 8. Somebody else comes and eats another 3 pieces of pizza. How many pieces do I have left? Well, counting the blue pieces, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces left, and my pizza still has 8 pieces. Whenever I do a fraction problem, I always give my answer in lowest terms. So 4/8, I can divide 4 into top and bottom, giving me 1/2. So when I subtract, same as addition, my bottom number must stay the same. I'm not changing how many pieces are in whatever it is that I am adding or subtracting. All I'm changing is how many pieces there are. Let's look at an example. 3/4 take 1/3. Well, the first thing I need to do is put them with the same denominator. Well, my lowest common denominator of 4 and 3 is 12. So I'll do that. 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times 4 is 4. Now I can subtract. 9 take 4 equals 5, and my bottom number stays the same. To multiply, I simply multiply across. So 2 times 5 is 10, 3 times 7 is 21. However, when multiplying, if any numbers can be divided top and bottom, it's much easier to cancel before you multiply than after. So what do we mean by cross-cancelling? I can simplify any number from the top with any number from the bottom if there's a multiplication sign in the middle. So I've got a 5 top and bottom, so I can cancel those 5s because 5 goes into 5 once and 5 goes into 5 once. I also see that I can divide top and bottom by 4 because 4 goes into 4 once and 4 goes into 8 twice. I can then just multiply across. 1 times 1 equals 1 and 2 times 1 equals 2. So that will give me 1/2. Let me explain what I mean about cross-cancelling. If I've got this question, 36 over 49 times 14 over 27, and I'm going to use cross-cancelling, well, I can see that I can divide top and bottom by 9. 9 goes into 36 4 times, and 9 goes into 27 3 times. I also see I can divide top and bottom by 7. 7 goes into 14 twice, and 7 goes into 49 7 times. I can now multiply across. 4 times 2 equals 8, and 7 times 3 equals 21. There's my answer. Let's have a look without cross-cancelling. I could just multiply across, and we can do that. So I would have 36 times 14. Starting with my smallest number, 6 4s are 24, put down the 4, carry the 2. 3 4s are 12, plus the 2 I carried is 14. And 0, then 1 times 36 is 36. Then I add it up, 4, and carry the 1. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1 carries 5. That gives me 504. Then I need to do the same for the bottom, 49 times 27. I won't go into that now, but you can see exactly what I need to do to get that. And that gives me 1,533. I then need to cancel this down. Well, I can see that 5 plus 4 equals 9. And this number here also goes into 3. So I would start by dividing top and bottom by 3. Well, 3 goes into 5 once with 2 remainder. 3 goes into 26 times with 2 remainder. 3 goes into 24 8 times. 3 goes into 15 5 times. 1 and 1. Then I need to keep dividing down until I get to 8 over 21. You can see that this would be a much longer way of doing it, much more option for mistakes because there's so many more steps, and it will take a lot longer. You simply don't have that long in an exam. So please, 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 if you can cross cancel, it will become much, much quicker. Now let's have a look at how to divide fractions. And I have a fraction here, 1/7 divided by 3/5. Well, to divide fractions, the first number stays the same and the second number turns upside down. So my top number becomes my bottom number becomes my top number. Once my fraction here has swapped and turned on its head, then the divide can become times. Now I simply multiply it as before, cross cancelling if I can, in this case I can't, and then just multiply across. 1 times 5 equals 5 and 7 times 3 equals 21. There's my answer. What about working with mixed numbers? Well, we always start when adding with the smallest place value. So 1/5 plus 3/5 will equal 4/5. 1 plus 3 is 4, my bottom number always stays the same when adding. Then 2 plus 6 equals 8. There's my answer, 8/5. Let's look at another example. 2 and 4/5 plus 3 and 2/3. Well, the first thing I need to do when adding or subtracting is I need a common denominator. So my common denominator here will be 15. And then I'll put it in column form. And I always start with the smallest place value. So I'll do that. 12 plus 10 equals 22. Now you'll remember that 15 over 15 equals 1. The same number top and bottom equals 1. So 15 is 1 whole 15 in 22. So I'll put that up, and what I have left over is 7. So that goes down here. My denominator stays the same. Then I can simply add up over this side here, add up my units. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus the 1 I carried 6, and my answer is 6 and 7/15. Let's look at subtraction. 7 and 1/3 take 2 and 3/4. Again, I must have a common denominator. And my lowest common denominator, 3 and 4, is 12. So here, 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12, 3 times 3 is 9. I then put it into column form. And again, I start with my lowest place value, which is here. 4, take 9, I can't do. So what I do in subtraction when I can't take something away is I borrow 1 from the next place value. So I'll borrow 1 from the 7, and the 7 will become 6. Now 1 unit here equals 12 over 12 here. So what I'll do is I'll add 12 on here, okay? Because 1 of the units equals 12 over 12 here. It doesn't equal 10 like it does in decimal format. It will equal 12 over 12. It will equal whatever the denominator is. So now, at the top of this fraction, I have 4 plus 12, which is 16. I can now do this. 16 take 9 is 7. Whenever I subtract or add, the denominator stays the same, so my denominator will be 12. I can now look at my units place. 6 take 2 equals 4. So my answer is 4 and 7/12. Thanks for listening.